Hey guys, so first things first, I know I'm talking very quietly, but at least I have the microphone so it should help with that, but it is literally midnight as I'm recording this. So, I know I could have been on it a bit faster with this video because the video I'm talking about dropped around noon yesterday, and I did watch it literally the moment it dropped. I saw that notification pop up and I was on it within moments, okay? And then I watched it again. I lost track of how many times I watched the mini documentary for the Beatles now and then. This is like our first real preview of what we're getting. I mean, since it's now November 2nd, because it's midnight, we'll be getting the full track today. Part of me is tempted to just stay up and wait, but then again, I'm like, that's never a good call with me. I should probably sleep after I post this, but it was an interesting mini documentary. I will admit, I have flip-flopped on what my expectations of this song are going to be, right? I mean, initially I was very excited just knowing that there was in fact a third track that was supposed to be included with the anthology as a new Beatles song that we didn't get at the time. We all know the story, I'm not going to rehash it. So hearing that it was actually being worked on, finally, after all of these years, alright, not gonna lie, initially was very excited over that. And then when we finally got the official announcement with the little teaser trailer, the few blippy seconds we could hear of it in the background, I was like, oh, is that what it's gonna sound like? I don't know how I feel about that. So I was trying to temper my expectations, lower the bar, because in case, I figure, worst case scenario, in case it turns out bad, if my expectations are down low, I won't be that disappointed. If they're way up here, and then it turns out to be a disappointment, I'll be heartbroken. But if I set them low, and then it turns out to be good, then I'm just pleasantly surprised, right? But, so now we got this mini documentary, well, yesterday now, but, 12 minutes, it's on the Beatles YouTube channel. I think I saw somewhere that it's supposedly on Disney Plus, too. I cannot confirm, I didn't go looking for it, but it's on YouTube. You don't need to go to Disney Plus for it. It's the very same thing. But anyway, so I actually really liked the way that this thing was edited together with all these old clips of the Beatles, both seen and unseen, home videos from during the recording of the anthology sessions, home videos of John with Sean and Yoko. It was really nicely put together, and it definitely dips into that nostalgic feeling, that sentimentality, but at the same time, given what they're saying over it, given what we are hearing as a preview of the song, there is a definite melancholy to it. And I'm not surprised, because we heard the demo years ago. It's been floating around as a bootleg for freaking forever, okay? This is not new to us. Just like Free as a Bird and Real Love weren't either. Those were bootlegs long before they ever got completed for the anthology. Just saying. So same with this. We kind of more or less knew generally what this is gonna be. Weren't sure if are they gonna change the key? Are they gonna add stuff to it? Are they gonna speed up the tempo? No one really knew one way or the other what's gonna happen with this thing. I have heard people on both sides of the line, people who are really excited about it, all for it, think it's going to be great. I've heard people who have hated on this thing from day one. I've heard people slide from one end of the scale to the other, in both directions, actually. So it's a mixed bag, but it seems like what I have been seeing and what I have been hearing lately has mostly been negative. Mostly people saying that they don't think it's going to be very good, saying that they think they're going to be disappointed by it, this, that, and the other, da 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 da. And yet these are the very same people who are going to spend buttloads of money buying the colored vinyls, buying the this, that, and the other. It's just pick a lane. Pick a freaking lane. Anyway, so I don't care about that. But I will say that upon watching this mini documentary, it's a weird, conflicted feeling. Because there's a little bit of that spark of excitement like there was leading up to the anthology and hearing that we're getting new Beatles songs. I mean, there's a little bit of that, but at the same time, it's almost extinguished by that melancholy that's going with it, and by everything that's being said about it. Countless articles I have read have been referring to this as a final farewell to the Beatles, and I mean, yeah, logistically we know this is going to be the last new Beatles song ever. That's it. No more. I mean, unless they really surprise us and give us Carnival of Light one day, which I do not see happening. But all likelihood, this is it. And in that finality, there's a sadness to it, because it's just like this thing, this pillar that's been a constant in my life since I was a literal infant. Just seeing that there's an end point. I mean, logically, we all knew that obviously there has to be one at some point in time. I think a lot of us assumed that that endpoint was kind of just like the anthology, because where are you going from there? Yeah, we've had like releases of things like the super deluxe albums, but that's not like new music. That's just releasing unreleased stuff. That's different. So, basically, hearing it put in such a final way, and knowing that they're not getting any younger. They are in their 80s. How much longer do you expect them to be around for? Just, it feels almost like a sucker punch in just the finality of it all. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's feeling that way about it. It's just like, I want to be excited about it, but at the same time, it's so overshadowed by just the looming finality of it. So I don't know how to feel about it. But I really liked the way that they put the mini documentary together. Was it really anything new that we didn't know before? No. I mean, unless you haven't been paying attention to this whole journey of how they got from point A to point B, but it's new footage, though. It's new interview bits with them, so that's always a nice thing, but yeah, I don't know. I really don't know how to feel. I thought maybe it was just a me thing, since, I mean, those who've been around my channel know that I've been pretty deeply depressed since losing my dog a week ago. I know, don't say it, but I figured maybe it's just me in the headspace that I'm in, that this is also just like doubling down on that feeling that much harder, just the finality thing. And just thinking about mortality, this, that, and the other, I figured that was just a me thing. But then I've been looking around, listening, kind of keeping my ear to the ground, seeing what other people are saying too, and it's not just me. Which on one hand makes me feel a little better that it's not just me who's feeling this way over it. But on the other hand, it's like, if we're all kind of in this same boat of, this thing is like really depressing, how excited can any of us realistically be over it? This is not me hating on it at all. This is me just trying to, trying to articulate the conflicted emotions here. I also saw an article earlier today saying that Peter Jackson has discovered 14 hours of unused anthology footage. I'm over here like, give us that. Like, there's something I would get super excited over, my god. Then again, I say that, and yet, for the Get Back project, wasn't there something like 70 hours or something of unused footage that he went through to create that? And I was over here like, release all 70 of them! And here I am, 3 years later, and I still haven't even watched Get Back. Oh god, I don't know. But anyway, That said, it does seem like perhaps Peter Jackson is the hero we didn't know we needed in actually getting Beatle projects finished while the two of them are still here. I've seen a lot of back and forth with people trying to decide whether or not they consider this to actually count as a Beatles track or not. That's nothing new. I mean, this happened with Free as a Bird and Real Love as well, because I am old enough to remember when the anthology came out, so I was about 10 when that came out, so I was plenty old enough. I was very much already in the online spaces for the fandom. I remember this same exact argument was going down back in 95, just as it is now. 30 years later, it's totally repeating itself. So, I can't say as I'm surprised. Personally, do I count it as one? Sure, I count it as one, just like I count the other two songs as counting as Beatles songs. I don't think it had to be recorded back in the day with all four of them physically in the same room at the same time for it to count. But that's just me. So, that's my opinion. You're allowed to have your opinion. I suppose it remains to be seen once the song drops later today. I think, if I'm not mistaken, in about 7 hours of when I'm filming it, if they actually stay to the schedule they were saying they will release it at. And then tomorrow we get the official music video for it, which I hear tell has some very, very early unseen footage of the Beatles in, like, the Hamburg days, the black leather suits and everything, that Pete Best provided them. And some are arguing, yeah, he just wants more of that anthology money. It's like, hold on. If that were the case, he would have just sold that footage years ago, and he didn't. So, I mean, not to play devil's advocate, since I'm very much Team Ringo, but, like, give the dude a little credit that he held on to that all these years and actually provided it for something like this. So, I don't know, I'm eager to see it one way or the other, even if it does turn out to be like a mega bummer of a song, but I still want to see it, I still want to hear it. Only time will tell of how it's going to turn out, but it's hard to really gauge from the mini documentary what this thing is going to sound like, because we heard, like, different sections of it, and some of it is exactly what you would expect given the demo, but then there's, like, the addition of strings, and then there's that kind of chimey sounding instrument. I don't know if it's a keyboard, I don't know what it is, but it's what you could hear in the little teaser trailer, those few seconds, whatever that instrument is, you could hear a little tiny bit of that in this too. But beyond that, it's hard to really say what this thing's gonna sound like. Apparently there was a George solo. Whether or not it's actually George's playing or them trying to emulate George's playing, that I don't know. Paul did say it's a tribute to George, which makes me think it's not actually George playing it, but what can you do, right? I mean, he's working with what he can. George kind of bailed quick on this song while they were trying to work on it in 95, so it is what it is. He only had a limited amount of footage to go on for what's actually George's, so can't really hold it against him for trying to recreate what could have been a George solo and sounds like a George solo, you know? I don't know if that's a Jeff Lynne thing, I don't know if that's Paul doing it, someone else doing it, I don't know. Again, it remains to be seen so far, so I suppose we kind of just have to strap in and see where this one takes us.